Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Clark. I am the founder and CEO of Clark College Consulting and Clark College Funding, the author of 2 wonderful college planning books. And a few weeks ago I spoke about SAT subject-based tests, and after I spoke about it, I got a lot more questions about the SAT subject-based test. And by the way, I love getting those questions. So if you do have some questions about anything when it comes to college planning, just let me know. I'll be glad to try to answer those. So today I'm going to talk and try to answer those questions about subject-based tests. So the first question that I received was, what subject-based tests can I take? Well, there are 20 subject-based tests to choose from. And the majority of your tests are foreign languages, but there are also English, history, math, and sciences thrown in there as well. So let's break it down a little bit more detail. So under the English category, there is a literature subject-based test. For math, it's Math 1 and 2. For history, you have U.S. history and world history. In science, you have 2 biologies. You have ecological and you have molecular. You also have chemistry and physics. And then, of course, we have the languages. And there are a lot of them, but let's go through them real quick. We have Chinese with listening, French with listening, German with listening, modern Hebrew, Italian, Japanese with listening, Korean with listening, Latin, Spanish, and of course Spanish with listening. So that's all of them. Next question. Are the subject-based tests the same as the AP test? No, they're definitely not. There are many more AP tests than there are subject-based tests or SAT2s. For example, there are 5 arts AP tests and there are no art subject-based tests. So next question, what if I prefer taking the ACT subject-based test? Well, unfortunately, the ACT does not give out a subject-based test. It's only provided by the College Board or the SAT. But I do know a few colleges out there that if you submit an ACT, you do not have to take an SAT subject-based test. So look for those particulars when you are applying to a college. Now, next question. When should I take the subject-based test? A great question. Well, the best time to take it, obviously, is right after you just studied the subject or you finished taking the class. So if you're going to take an AP exam, well, that might be a great time to take a subject-based test as well. So you want to schedule your test maybe in May of your sophomore year or junior year, maybe even in November of your senior year. So as soon as you have the class or as soon as you are familiar with it, that's when you want to take it. Next, how long is a subject-based test? Well, typically they're about 1 hour in length. Next, how many subject-based tests can I take at a time? Well, generally you can schedule up to 3 tests at one time. Now, I don't necessarily recommend taking 3 tests at one sitting. That's pretty stressful, but if you think you can do it, go for it. Now, some colleges do require you to submit 3 subject-based tests or SAT2 tests. So you want to make sure you find or look for those particulars when you are researching your colleges that you are applying to. So check the college's website for that information. Next, when are the subject-based tests offered? Well, they are offered 6 times throughout the year. So they're offered in August, October, November, December, May, and June. You'll notice I left out March. Why? Or left out a lot of them, but specifically March, because March is the month that no subject-based tests are given, only the SAT is given. So definitely not March. Next question, are all subject-based tests offered 6 times a year? No, unfortunately they're not, and that is a confusion a lot of students have. Not every subject-based test is offered 6 times a year, so you got to plan carefully. So let's think about this. There are a few subject-based tests that are offered every time a subject-based test is offered, if that makes sense. So the following 7 tests are offered every time a subject-based test is offered. Literature, both biologies, chemistry, physics, U.S. history, Math 1 and Math 2. Now the other subject-based tests are only offered certain times out of the year. So let's walk through that. So world history is only offered August, December, and June. French is not offered in November. German only offered in June. Spanish not offered in November. Modern Hebrew only in June. Italian only in June. Latin in June and December. And then your listening of French, German, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean is only offered in November. So hopefully that helps you when you're planning, because you definitely want to plan accordingly. And I will try to include that information below so it's easy for you to read. Can I see scores before I send them to colleges? Absolutely, Ed. You definitely want to see the scores and review the scores before you send them off. Remember to check your college policies on that, because some colleges require you to send all of your subject-based test scores, but some allow you to send your best. So if you decide to take it more than once, you might want to use score choice and send your best if that is allowed by the colleges. Next, what is the latest I can take the subject-based scores in my senior year? Well, it depends. Are you applying for early action or early decision? If you are applying for early action or early decision, my suggestion would be October or November would be your latest. If you're not applying early action or early decision, you're applying rolling admission or regular admission, then December is probably the latest of your senior year that you want to take the subject-based test. Next, do all colleges require the SAT subject-based test? Thankfully, no. A lot of colleges, and I would say the majority of colleges, do not require an SAT subject-based test, but you need to check the college's website carefully on the policy for subject-based tests, if they require it or not. Okay, next question. Do I need to take specific subject-based tests for my major? In a lot of cases, yes. So the answer to that would be sometimes. Many colleges require you to take specific subject-based tests, specifically if you're thinking about majoring in engineering or science or math. It's either required or it's highly recommended. A great example of that, if you're applying to any of the University of California colleges, they're not required, but they're highly recommended, and it just makes you much more competitive if you submit an SAT subject-based test. So again, check with the specific colleges that you're considering applying to. Next question, and the last question, how can I prepare to take the subject-based test, the SAT subject-based test? Well, my suggestion would be to start online and looking at the online resources, and then I would check to see if any local tutors or SAT prep options are available to you. So those are the two suggestions I have, because sometimes the local tutors don't tutor students for SAT subject-based tests, and so it might be easier online. But if you find one locally, certainly you want to consider them as well. So check with your friends and maybe start a study group. I've had a few students do that before, and they've been very, very successful. They started a study group with 2 or 3 other students, and they all took the same subject-based test, and they did really, really well. So those are the questions and answers. I hope you found them helpful. If you could do me a favor and just share this with other families and other students, I would appreciate it. I know they would appreciate it as well. Well, keep those questions coming. I love answering your questions. I hope you found this helpful. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon.